Tonight, let us journey to the tranquil depths of ancient mythology as we unveil the gentle tale of Galatea and the lull of the sea. Listen as the serene story unfolds, tracing the delicate paths of love and jealousy. Follow along as Galatea, the gentle sea nymph, meets Polyphemus and Acis, navigating quiet waters with grace and mystery. Settle in and let the soothing rhythms of this ancient world guide you into tranquility. And now, let the tale unfold. In the mythical past, on the tranquil shores of Sicily, a gentle dawn unfolded. The warm glow of the sun began to cast its soft amber light over the gentle waves of the Mediterranean Sea. And there, in the midst of this serene scene, swam Galatea, the ethereal sea nymph. Her presence was as calming as the sea itself, an embodiment of harmony and grace. She moved through the water with an effortless elegance, as though she was part of the sea's own melody. Galatea cherished the vast expanse of the sea, the freedom it offered, and the countless stories whispered in the waves. She found joy in her surroundings, sharing her days with the sea creatures that dwelt beneath the surface. These beings greeted her fondly. As she glided past, playful dolphins danced around her, and curious fish shimmered in her presence, reflecting the gentle gold of the rising sun. Her gentle nature drew them to her, a testament to the harmony she embodied. The sea was more than a home to Galatea. It was an endless realm where she could be entirely herself. Often she reflected on this freedom, the ability to wander the depths and dance among the waves without constraint. Her heart resonated with the rhythm of the sea, a place where her spirit soared, unburdened by time or land. Each day was a new harmony, a new strand in the fabric of her timeless existence. Eventually, as the sun began to rise higher in the sky, casting a soft amber hue across the azure waters, Galatea emerged from the sea. She found a familiar rock by the shore, a place where she often sat to contemplate the vast horizon. The land rolled gently away from the sea, adorned with wildflowers that swayed in the warm breeze. Here she could lose herself in the beauty that surrounded her. As Galatea sat gazing across the endless expanse of water, her thoughts drifted to Acis, a young shepherd who dwelt in the nearby hills. To Galatea, Acis was like the dawn, a warm presence that quietly eased into her thoughts. From afar, she admired his youth and innocence, watching him from the water as he tended to his sheep. Although they had not yet spoken, the mention of his name whispered in her mind like a softly held secret. The ocean was at peace, the waves lapping gently at the rocky shore. Around her, the sound of water meeting land created a timeless symphony, and Galatea felt at one with the world. The sea's lulling embrace seemed to echo the whispers of love and longing that slumbered deep within her heart. Her desires and aspirations, though subtle, were as vast as the sea, and the longing to express them grew quietly within her. As she pondered her feelings, Galatea found contentment in her connection to the natural world, which seemed to understand her silent yearnings. The sea was a constant companion, its whispering waves echoing her thoughts and dreams. Here, amidst the calm, she embraced a world of possibility, where tranquility and love could flow freely, unhindered by the demands of time. The morning stretched leisurely across the horizon, inviting gentle introspection, and with a sense of quiet resolution, Galatea resolved to nurture her feelings for Acis openly, letting the natural rhythm of life guide her gently toward whatever lay ahead. Under the gentle embrace of the summer sun, the hills of Sicily bore witness to a youthful shepherd tending to his flock. Acis, with a heart as bright as the day, moved with ease among his sheep, guiding them over the green slopes. His shepherd's staff, a simple yet trusted tool, was held lightly in his hand, indicating the peaceful manner in which he led his flock. As he traversed these serene hills, his voice began to rise above the gentle rustling leaves. carrying melodies that danced upon the air like unseen spirits. His songs were infused with a timeless innocence, resonating with the purity and devotion that marked his connection to the land. From the water, Galatea watched Acis, drawn irresistibly to the sound of his voice. She remained hidden, a part of the sea itself, listening to the tender notes that seemed to stir something deep within her. The melody spoke to her, whispering truths about life and love that she longed to know more fully. Entranced by Acis and the scenery around him, Galatea felt the sea cradle her gently, just as Acis cradled his flock with his music. Acis was unaware of the sea nymph's gaze upon him, lost in the rhythms that guided his day. His songs, simple yet heartfelt, seemed to echo the harmony that existed between the earth and sky, a testament to his devotion. As the melodies flowed from his lips, Galatea felt her heart flutter, stirred by the purity of the shepherd's spirit. It was as though each note carried a piece of his soul, and she longed to draw closer to the source of such simple beauty. Encouraged by the music's call and the serene surroundings, Galatea edged closer to the shore, revealing herself for the first time. Her appearance was gentle, like the sun emerging from behind soft clouds, casting warm and hopeful rays across the landscape. The sea's embrace released her, allowing her to step onto the land where Acis tended his sheep. As she approached, the tender melodies paused, the shepherd's eyes widening as they met the ethereal presence before him. At that moment, time seemed to hold its breath, allowing Acis and Galatea to exchange shy smiles and words of innocence. There was little need for elaborate speeches, for their hearts spoke volumes in those stolen glances. Acis was captivated by Galatea's beauty, her form delicate and dreamlike, as though she had risen from the depths of legend to stand before him. In his eyes, she held the essence of tranquility personified, an enchanting visitor from the mystical realm. The atmosphere wrapped around them in a tender embrace, their connection highlighted by the sea's gentle whispers and the sun's warm hug. A moment of pure understanding passed between them, hinting at a deeper connection that promised to unfold. But Galatea, ever mindful of her bond with the sea and the realm she belonged to, gently retreated after their brief encounter, casting a glance over her shoulder with a hint of longing. Returning to the water, Galatea left Acis by the hills, still holding the soft echoes of their exchange close to his heart. For the shepherd, this fleeting encounter had etched itself into his soul, a beacon of innocent promise that illuminated his world with newfound hope. As their interaction quietly faded into the hill's mysteries, remnants of tender feelings lingered in the air, accentuating the innocence of first love. Galatea's retreat into the sea marked the beginning of a story far beyond their understanding, a narrative bound by timeless chords of love and longing. The sea lapped gently against the shore, wrapping the events in its tranquil embrace, hinting at emotions yet unexplored. As Acis resumed his duties, thought lingered about the sea's mysterious ways and the extraordinary nymph he had encountered, his heart full of anticipation for what their connection might one day bring. With the hills behind him and the sea stretched before him, Acis felt the melody of his life playing in harmony with the rhythm of the waves, gently guiding him toward destiny's embrace. Dusk began to paint the sky above Sicily with hues of deep orange and dusky red as the island settled into the gentle rhythm of evening. Polyphemus, the Cyclops, stood at the shadowed opening of his cave, gazing down upon the scene unfolding below. The secluded bay where Galatea and Acis often met was a tableau of tranquility, but in his heart a tumultuous storm brewed. From his vantage point, Polyphemus could see Galatea and Acis engaged in their quiet companionship, oblivious to the watchful eye above. Polyphemus retreated slightly into the dimly lit confines of his cave, where echoes of solitude resonated against the stone walls. The cave was his refuge, a place where he pondered his desires and misgivings. Though mighty in stature, Polyphemus was plagued with a sense of loneliness, a void he thought Galatea might fill. In his heart, a deep longing interwove with the bitterness of doubt, creating a tapestry of emotions he struggled to unravel. As the Cyclops reflected on his affection for Galatea, memories of her gentle laughter and ethereal beauty danced in his mind. Yet, seeing her with Acis intensified the ache of jealousy in his chest. It was as if each shared glance between the nymph and the shepherd etched a deeper line of envy into his heart. Polyphemus, surrounded by his solitude, felt the lachrymose tides of longing and unmet desires. Outside, Galatea and Acis shared a tender moment, unaware of the Cyclops' discontent. Their exchanges were simple yet profound, a testament to their connection that went beyond words. Polyphemus, with a gaze both tender and covetous, watched as Galatea's laughter mingled with the gentle sounds of the sea, each wave whispering a harmony unbeknownst to his lonely ears. In the midst of this quiet observation, Polyphemus's heart was pierced by misunderstanding. He saw only the surface of their affection, interpreting it through the lens of his solitary heart. His feelings of love were genuine, yet they mingled with a sense of rivalry and an absence of comprehension. This imbalance planted seeds of bitterness in the fertile grounds of his longing soul. Within the depths of the cave, voices occasionally echoed, a few friends who ventured to his side, concerned for the state of his brooding heart. They cautioned Polyphemus against the dangers of unbridled jealousy, their words like subtle breezes of reason in the cavern of his thoughts. Yet, such counsel often fell upon ears deafened by desire. For Polyphemus, the path of love appeared set upon an earthly course of winning Galatea's heart, dismissing the warnings as mere shadows against his ardent aspirations. Resolute, Polyphemus fortified his resolve to gain Galatea's affection, even amid the mountains of doubt that loomed within him. His attempts to capture her heart were sincere, marred only by the cumbersome shadow his singular perspective cast on the purity of his intentions. In the depths of his cave he molded plans and entertained hopes, believing one day he might step out from the shadows into the light of her love. As darkness descended and stars began to glimmer in the Sicilian sky, Polyphemus remained a solitary presence in the cave's cool embrace. His eyes lingered on the distant forms of Galatea and Acis, a reminder that his journey, though steeped in yearning, was yet unfolding. The night carried with it promises unmade, whispered not by the breeze, but by the currents of his expanding heart, a promise of tenacity in the face of love's elusive grace. On the sun-kissed slopes of Sicily, the bond between Galatea and Acis continued to deepen, woven gently amidst the harmonies of nature. Galatea, the ethereal sea nymph, found herself drawn increasingly to the charming shepherd, whose life was humble yet profoundly rich with simplicity and love. Every encounter unfolded like a quiet symphony, where laughter and gentle conversation replaced the rhythmic crashing of waves. They spent long afternoons strolling beneath the olive trees, their branches casting dappled shadows that danced upon the soft grass. As they wandered the verdant countryside, Acis eagerly shared stories of the land, tales of braver shepherds and mighty gods that captured Galatea's interest and stirred a curiosity within her for the world above the sea. Acis. Sitting under the shade of ancient olive trees, they indulged in humble meals, their sustenance drawn from the fruits of the earth rather than the depths of the ocean. It was during these peaceful moments that Galatea began to appreciate Acis's world, learning not just of its simplicity, but of its boundless depth. These exchanges were more than enlightening. They were a balm to Galatea's spirit, offering a sanctuary from the deep-seated turmoil she felt whenever away from the sea. Nestled near the shoreline, where the grass met the soft, sandy embrace of the tide, they shared dreams and hopes, speaking in soft whispers that the breeze carried to and fro among the olive branches. Acis dreamt of tending his flock amidst evergreen pastures, while Galatea spoke of her desire to remain in a harmonious embrace with the world beneath the waves. The conversations filled their hearts with warmth, cementing a promise of affection wrapped delicately in the tranquility of nature. Yet, even amid the serene beauty of their connection, Galatea was keenly aware of the lurking presence of Polyphemus, the Cyclops who watched from afar, his attention both unsettling and ominous. This danger hung like a shadow over their happy times, an unspoken threat quietly poised to shatter the fragile peace they cherished. In reflective moments, Galatea grappled with an inner conflict, torn between her growing love for Acis and the unpredictable intentions of Polyphemus. She felt their love was both right and fragile, akin to fine glass that could be easily broken by the slightest tremor of jealousy. As their connection deepened, the unseen presence of Polyphemus loomed ever closer, though Galatea and Acis remained blissfully unaware. This looming figure cast an unsteady tension even over the brightest summer days. He stood in the shadows, watching as Galatea and Acis reveled in their shared moments beneath the sunlit canopy of olive trees. Polyphemus's jealousy was unresolved, a simmering tempest ready to disrupt the tranquility Galatea and Acis worked so hard to cultivate. Despite the unseen danger, their bond continued to flourish, like a flower blossoming against the warm embrace of the sun. Each gentle brush of wind carried a whisper of love, intertwined with the bittersweet melody of impending disruption. As Galatea spent more days on land, her heart grappled with its two loves, the steadfast devotion of Acis and her eternal connection to the boundless embrace of the sea. Together under the olive trees, Galatea and Acis dreamt openly but spoke quietly, as if to avoid awakening the lurking giant. Their love danced amidst the shadows of summer leaves, bringing comfort yet hinting at the tension of what was yet to come. With every passing day, Acis grew more confident in Galatea's affection, yet Polyphemus, watching from a distance, remained a silent shadow of uncertainty. Thus, as the sun began to dip toward the horizon, its warm glow cast into soft amber hues upon the sea and the land alike, Galatea knew that the harmony they cherished would soon be challenged by the storm that brewed in Polyphemus's heart. The tranquility of the olive trees whispered the solemn promise of love's endurance, even as the gentle ripples of shallow waves forecasted the inevitable tide soon to crash upon the shore. As dawn broke over the misty rocky shoreline near his cave, Polyphemus sat alone, his heart heavy with unexpressed longing. The gentle whispers of the sea provided a melancholic soundtrack to his thoughts. Despite his imposing stature and uncouth ways, Polyphemus's heart was earnest in its affection for Galatea. Determined to charm her, he resolved to bring music into his life. His attempts at song were gruff and unpracticed, contrasting sharply with the melodious strains of Acis's voice that had so enraptured Galatea's heart. The Cyclops' voice, deep and rumbling like distant thunder, carried across the waves, but lacked the softness that spoke to love's gentler side. Undeterred by his vocal shortcomings, Polyphemus endeavored to create more than music. He sought to present Galatea with gifts, offerings that might express his sincere desire. Gathering what the rugged shores could afford, grew seashells and simple flowers that he believed would capture her admiration. He placed them carefully along her accustomed path. The gifts were but reflections of his honest, albeit naive, attempts to win her favor. Yet, when Galatea encountered his offerings, her heart was moved, not by the shells or flowers, but by the poignant effort they represented. With kindness, she declined his advances, her gentle voice carrying both understanding and firmness. Polyphemus watched from a distance, his heart caught in a tumultuous dance between hope and despair. Each time he witnessed Galatea and Acis together, it was as if his efforts had been cast adrift on an indifferent tide. His love for her was sincere, Yet her steadfast affection for Acis cast his dreams into shadow. This unrequited affection soon blossomed into frustration, not with Galatea, but with his inability to change her heart, the paradox of a giant laid low by matters of love, which remain enigmatically beyond his might. Driven by an overwhelming need to prove himself worthy, Polyphemus began a sad soliloquy to the waves. He spoke with the sea as his confidant, pledging to transform himself into a creature deserving of Galatea's affection. In this solitary vow, he clung to the hope that through sheer force of will, and perhaps a measure of divine favor, he might bridge the gap between his world and hers. His heart set on change, Polyphemus imagined a future where Galatea would see beyond his rough exterior to the depths of his devotion. But as the sun climbed higher, casting soft red hues across the misty morn, the reality of his situation loomed like the rocks beneath his feet. From his vantage point, he watched Galatea and Acis wander together, their path winding along the shore. Every laugh they shared, every stolen glance, became a silent reminder of the love that flourished between them, a love that seemed both tender and untouchable. Polyphemus felt as if he were observing from a distance not just in space, but in an emotional gulf he could not cross. In the solitude of his watch, Polyphemus became resolute. He vowed inwardly to win Galatea's heart, irrespective of the circumstances. His eyes followed the couple until they disappeared over the crest of a hill, leaving him alone with his thoughts. The weight of his unvoiced emotions grew heavier, yet his determination only strengthened in the face of such adversity. Polyphemus resolved that his love for Galatea would guide him through the storm of his own making, even as the tranquil sea around him seemed to warm an inevitable tempest. Though Polyphemus's lament was heartfelt, the gentle sway of the sea around him seemed to hold its breath, aware of the impending conflict his emotions harbored. In the quiet moments between heartbeats and the harmonic lap of waves, the scene was set for passions yet to unravel. As daybreak gave way to the clarity of morning light, the shore awaited the culmination of a Cyclops' yearning, a shepherd's devotion, and a sea nymph's enduring truth. As the sun climbed into the clear autumn sky, its golden rays stretched across the open sea near Sicily, creating patterns on the waves that danced alongside the gentle movements of Galatea. She moved effortlessly through the water, her presence a harmonious part of the serene landscape. The sea was her refuge, offering clarity where the world above was tangled in complex emotions and desires. Submerged in her ocean domain, Galatea found comfort in her solitude, a stark contrast to the turbulent thoughts wrestling within her. Love, she mused, was a force both profound and gentle. The profound depth of her feelings for Acis weighed heavily on her mind. While the nature of love was ever-changing and moving, much like the sea, its beauty lay in its ability to endure against the fiercest of storms. Yet, questions lingered. Could she truly protect this love from the looming threat of Polyphemus, whose affections were as mighty and untamed as the Cyclops himself? Surrounding her, dolphins swam with vibrant energy, their playful nature lifting her spirits. Galatea whispered her thoughts to them, as if seeking advice from these intuitive creatures. Their presence brought comfort, a reminder that in nature's intricate design lay a form of companionship and quiet counsel. In their eyes, she perceived reflections of her own uncertainties, yet also glimpses of strength to overcome adversity. It was here, amidst the silent confidence, that Galatea acknowledged her necessary role in safeguarding her heart's deepest affection. Galatea's mind wandered to Acis, his joyful innocence a contrast to Polyphemus's lonely possession. Her heart brimmed with a desire to protect their shared moments of tender connection, yet this yearning was shadowed by the Cyclops' persistent presence in her mind. The balance seemed fragile, much like a delicate shell atop shifting sands, challenged by each wave of fate that came her way. Polyphemus's love, though sincere, bore the weight of misunderstanding and unchecked passion, casting a shadow over Galatea's life. The ocean's currents swirled around Galatea, embracing her in a fluid dance that mirrored her internal conflicts. The eternal rhythm of the sea provided a soothing balm to her fiery doubts. It spoke to her of constancy and regeneration, of how, even as it ebbed and flowed, it remained a unifying force connecting islands and continents alike. Within this vast expanse, she found solace in the thought that love too could be constant, enduring despite the storms of jealousy and possessiveness it faced. Determined to fortify this love, Galatea resolved to strengthen her bond with Acis, cultivating it with care and devotion. She recalled their shared dreams and aspirations whispered beneath olive trees, moments unmarred by worldly concerns. These memories, fleeting yet luminous, offered her a map to navigate the choppy waters ahead. Her love for Acis was her guiding star, drawing lines of direction through the chapters of their story. As Galatea glided through the shimmering expanse, she embraced the truth that love was indeed worth defending. Just as the sea surged and receded but never disappeared, so would her love for Acis endure, tested yet unwavering. She understood now that the swirling currents she'd felt were not just metaphors for conflict, but symbols of the unequivocal strength lying deep within her to face the challenges ahead. In this solemn resolve, Galatea found a serenity akin to the radiant peace of the sea's surface, a place where her heart's turmoil met with calm understanding. She allowed herself to drift on the gentle waves, feeling the whispers of love's everlasting promise wrap around her with all the care of a tender embrace. It became clear that this love, though beset by trials, was a force of nature in itself, unyielding and eternal. The afternoon sun cast its luminous glow over the sea, bathing Galatea in light. She rose from the depths and basked for a moment on the surface, her gaze fixed on the horizon. It was a reminder that even the most turbulent waters would ultimately calm, giving way to the clarity and understanding residing below. Her heart, much like the sea, was resilient, her love steadfast, ready to face whatever lay ahead with grace. The sky above Sicily's shores began to cloud, as if the heavens themselves shared the undercurrents of emotion stirring beneath. Shafts of amber light pierced through the heavy clouds, casting dusky hues upon the tranquil waters, a silent prelude to the storm gathering momentum. At the heart of this serene vista, Galatea and Acis found a pocket of calm. Walking hand in hand along the shoreline, they cherished these fleeting moments of peace, seeking solace in each other's presence. Like a sea breeze gently ruffling the waves, their love wove tender moments amidst the brewing tempest of unseen forces. Polyphemus, perched precariously on the craggy cliffs overlooking the scene, watched with eyes steeled by mounting determination. His heart ached with a possessiveness that was as turbulent as the threatening clouds above. He felt the bitterness of his unrequited love deep in his bones, fueling a resolve that refused to wane. As he lurked in the shadows, resentment mingled with longing, transforming his countenance into one of grim resolve. The very cliffs seemed to echo his internal storm, rocks standing silent witness to his tumultuous emotions. Within the gentle curling waves, fellow nymphs emerged, their whispers borne on the wind as soft warnings laden with concern. They had seen what Polyphemus could become, a force of nature unchecked. Their voices, like the rustle of autumn leaves, wove cautionary tales around Galatea that urged vigilance. Yet Galatea, wrapped in the warmth of Acis's love, found it difficult to heed their somber counsel. Her heart clung to hope, believing fervently in the purity and strength of her bond with Acis, reluctant to abandon him for the menace of Polyphemus's unabating attention. Amidst the murmurs of the sea, echoes of past romances, bitter and sweet alike, whispered through her thoughts. Time-honored tales of love enduring trials and tribulations lingered in her mind, their shadows hinting at the path laid before her. These ancient stories intertwined with her own, a tapestry of love and heartache woven by fate. Despite the looming threat, Galatea's resolve was steadfast, hoping that this wouldn't echo the tragic sagas of those who had gone before her. Above, the sky seemed to mirror her internal struggle, its churning clouds a canvas for the divine to sketch their involvement in mortal lives. Perhaps the gods themselves watched, casting their gazes over the unfolding drama. In the vastness of the sky, there was a sense of anticipation, an unspoken promise that intervention of celestial beings might alter the tune of this earthly melody. Would they bless this union, or simply observe the mortal dance play itself out to a natural end? As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of deep crimson and dusty gold, a palpable shift occurred. The day darkened ominously, nightfall creeping under the cover of thick clouds, hinting at impending change. The air, once filled with the soft murmurs of the sea, now felt charged with a different energy, a harbinger of decisions yet to unfurl. Even as they walked, Galatea and Acis felt the weight of the looming storm, though contentment temporarily wove an invisible cocoon around them. With every step, they crossed into a space of inevitability, moving toward an epoch where love would be tested by wild forces of jealousy and longing. Only the cliff tops, where Polyphemus lurked, bore silent witness to the interplay of these conflicting emotions. As night descended fully, the stage was set for events that would unfold, altering destinies with the outstretched hand of fate. Through it all, Galatea held Acis close, whispering silent prayers for their serenity amidst the impending storm. Beneath the churning sky, teeming with swirling clouds that mirrored the turmoil in his heart, Polyphemus descended from the rugged cliffs. His massive form silhouetted against the storm-lit horizon as he moved with an air of irrevocable determination. The roar of distant thunder seemed to resonate with his own deep-seated discontentment, as if heaven itself echoed the cacophony of his emotions. As he approached the shoreline, the winds picked up, and the sea frothed and bellowed in anticipation. Unaware of the tumult that loomed like a specter over their serene enclave, Galatea and Acis reveled in the comforting lap of the waves. Their laughter rose gently above the whispers of the surf, a tender testament to their love. Yet, this fleeting moment of joy was not to remain unbroken. The sudden, jarring presence of Polyphemus loomed over them, casting a long shadow that overtook their light-heartedness. Galatea's gaze met his, and in that instant, the shimmering beauty of the sea seemed to dull. Polyphemus's voice, rough and laden with fervor, cut through the rising storm. His words carried the weight of unrequited love and simmering jealousy as he beseeched Galatea to turn her affections toward him. The declaration was both a command and a plea, fueled by his aching solitude. Yet, even in the throes of his passion, there lay an inherent tragedy, a yearning that could never truly be fulfilled. Standing beside Galatea, Acis felt the stirrings of defiance within him. The steadfast devotion that bound his heart to hers surged forward like the waves crashing at their feet. With a quiet yet resolute strength, Acis stood his ground. He met the Cyclops' gaze with unyielding resolve, a silent proclamation of his own love's purity and might. In that moment, Acis was unmoved by the towering presence before him. He was fortified by love as enduring and relentless as the sea. But words, no matter their fervor, soon proved inadequate to bridge the gulf between what Polyphemus wanted and what could never be his. The air, thick with the scent of impending rain and electric tension, seemed to crackle as hostilities mounted. Polyphemus's anger, long restrained and knotted within the recesses of his heart, erupted with volcanic force. The Cyclops' wrath became a tangible storm, a tempest that mirrored the chaos within and burst outward in destructive fury. In the thick of this turbulence, Galatea's voice was a harmonic contrast, pleading for peace amid the discord. Her words carried the melody of the calming sea, seeking to quench the fires of rage that threatened to consume them all. Yet, the storm they faced was relentless. It dwarfed her entreaties, leaving them barely a ripple on the tempest's relentless tide. Still, her presence was a balm, a tether to a world that should have been gentle and kind. As the confrontation reached its zenith, a moment of eerie silence enveloped the shores. For a heartbeat, the storm paused, as if the elements themselves held their breath, waiting to see the outcome. A piercing flash of lightning tore across the sky, illuminating the resigned sadness in Polyphemus's eye, the fierce determination in Acis's stance, and the gentle despair in Galatea's expression. In this suspended second, the world seemed to freeze, caught between the fury of nature and the frailty of human emotion. And then, as if acknowledging the narrative threads that fate had woven together, the heavens released their downpour. Within this curtain of rain, noises were softened, and the world transformed into a theater of shadows and fleeting forms. Here the story of love, jealousy, and undeniable truth unfolded, leaving Galatea and Acis in the storm's heart, their love a beacon against the gathering darkness. As the rain poured down, each drop whispered of the narrative yet to complete. The storm, while vicious, held the promise of calm, just as the turbulent emotions of the heart gave way to moments of tender clarity. In this chapter of their tale, the harsh beauty of both love and loss was laid bare, sculpted by the tempest's tumultuous embrace. At dawn, the storm that had wreaked havoc across the shoreline dissipated, leaving behind a solemn silence. The once tumultuous waves now gently lapped against the sand, like nature's caress in the wake of a nightmare. As the first light of morning illuminated the scene, Galatea emerged from her sanctuary beneath the sea's surface. Her heart, heavy and aching, pulled her toward the spot where the confrontation with Polyphemus had reached its tragic peak. Scattered along the shoreline was debris, the remnants of a love story disrupted in its prime, and Galatea tread softly among them. She searched desperately for Acis, her beloved shepherd, whose presence was now hauntingly absent from the calm morning air. The echoes of the tempest still clung to her spirit as she replayed the clash, her mind piecing together the harrowing moments where she had been powerless to prevent the unfolding tragedy. Amidst her search, Galatea's memory unfurled vivid recollections. The fury of Polyphemus had erupted uncontrollably, driven by unrequited love and jealousy, and the scene played out in her mind like a sorrowful play. Words had failed, and then the terrible culmination, a large rock hurled by the Cyclops in a fit of rage, had struck Acis, silencing his youthful heart forever. Tears streamed down Galatea's cheeks as she knelt by the water's edge, her grief merging with the gentle sea foam at her feet, as if the ocean itself wept with her. Feeling the depths of her sorrow, the sea creatures that had long been her companions swam closer, offering their soothing presence as a balm to her aching soul. A dolphin, sensing her distress, brushed against her hand with tenderness. The presence of these gentle creatures reminded her of the nurturing embrace of the sea, an eternal constant amidst fleeting times of joy and sorrow. Their solidarity reminded her that she was not alone, for the sea, with all its depths, understood loss and healing in ways known only to the ancient waters. As Galatea mourned, a shadowed silhouette moved along the cliffs above, hesitating before disappearing into the distance. It was Polyphemus, seized by the weight of his own actions. Although regret now tinged his heart, his own isolation beckoned him away. The echo of his footsteps suggested a retreat to his place of solitude, a cave where his bittersweet laments would be the company he sought, apart from the world he failed to understand. Galatea, though wrapped in her sorrow, began to feel the sea's comforting pull, its rhythmic lull soothing her troubled mind. The waves kissed the shore with their timeless cadence, speaking to her of endurance and the cyclical nature of all things. Tears fell from her eyes, their salt mixing with the sea, a blend of her personal heartache with the vastness of the world. With each teardrop she felt a quiet connection to something much larger, a whisper affirming that love, though distanced by fate, could transcend its earthly bounds. In a voice soft with love and laden with heartache, Galatea spoke her enduring declaration. "Acis," she murmured, her words carried by the soft dawn breeze, "my love for you is eternal as the sea. Though death has parted us, my heart shall forever dwell with you, within the waters and beneath the stars." Her declaration resonated with the nature around her, as if the entire sea accepted her vow and held it in an embrace of endless waves. This new dawn marked a transition from grief toward a form of acceptance. Though the path was shadowed by tears, it was also guided by the resilient force of memory and myth. Galatea felt the permanence of her love amidst the gentle waves, the beginning of her journey to find solace in the stories that would be told and retold, affirming that Acis's spirit lived on, immortalized in the rippling echoes of the sea's embrace. As the gentle glow of dawn bathed the Sicilian shoreline, Galatea's heart was heavy with grief. Her lament, born on the soft morning breeze, calmed the turbulent stirrings of the sea, reaching up even to the heavens. The gods, moved by her sorrow, listened with sympathy and intent. The tragedy that had unfolded on the shore was not one that merited oblivion. Love so profound demanded remembrance and an eternal bond beyond mortal constraints. In the wake of her cries, subtle changes began to ripple across the landscape. The instability in the air lifted, replaced by a serene calm that seemed to whisper promises of divine intervention. The earth itself seemed to hum gently, as if acknowledging the presence of something greater at work. Springtime flowers began to unfurl their petals at the edges of the woodland, nodding in silent agreement as the transformation commenced. It was then, with a hushed awe, that Galatea witnessed the metamorphosis of Acis. The shepherd boy she had adored, lost amidst a moment of senseless fury, was reborn through the god's grace. Acis's essence flowed into the land, coalescing into a pristine stream, a glistening ribbon of water trailing gently through the verdant terrain. This was the gods' gift, a living testament to their love, enduring and timeless. Galatea, enraptured by the sight, approached the stream as if drawn by an invisible force. Her fingers dipped into the cool, refreshing currents, and she felt in its gentle flow the unmistakable whisper of Acis's voice. The stream coursed through the land, a perpetual embrace that echoed the depth of their connection and the permanence of his transformation. With each ripple, she felt the pulse of Acis's enduring spirit, now seamlessly woven into the fabric of the earth. Understanding and acceptance cascaded over her, filling the deep void that loss had carved in her heart. Time would pass, seasons would change, but the stream, his stream, would remain, a steadfast reminder of their enduring bond. Love had transcended the mortal coils of flesh, freeing their spirits to dance eternally amidst the days and nights, wherever the stream's waters sang their tranquil song. In serene acceptance, Galatea gently cupped the water, letting it trickle through her fingers, a vow etched into every drop. She promised to return, to let her love for Acis flow with the waters, and keep his memory alive amidst the rustling leaves and singing birds. The stream would be her sanctuary, a place to whisper her love and hear his ethereal response in the bubbling of its waters. As a testament to this promise, she tenderly placed wildflowers upon the banks, their colors vivid against the lush green of the earth. A gift from her to Acis, one that spoke of a love undiminished by separation, celebrating the life they once knew and the eternal nature of their bond through the gentle flow of the stream. Galatea lingered for a while, allowing herself to be soothed by the sound of flowing water. With every petal that twirled upon the surface, she felt both mournful and profoundly comforted, reassured that their love was now part of the world's eternal tapestry. In the silent songs of the birds and the whisper of the leaves, she recognized their shared narrative, gently interwoven with the natural order of all things. Even as she turned to leave, her heart knew she would return, each visit renewing the timeless connection to Acis. This stream would enliven the land, a refuge for those seeking quiet moments of reflection, and a place where lovers would come to seek inspiration from a tale as old as time. With one last glance over her shoulder, Galatea moved back toward the shore, the sun casting its warm embrace over the tranquil scene. As she walked, her spirit touched the hearts of all creatures dwelling along the banks, transforming her lament into a hymn of eternal devotion. The stream flowed on, its gentle murmurings a testament to the god's kindness and a promise of enduring love. In this transformation's embrace, the story of Galatea and Acis remained as enduring as the earth and as unfathomable as the sea, a reminder to all that love, once forged, never fades but instead transforms and renews, defying time and space. As twilight settled over the gentle landscape of Sicily, casting hues of lavender and pink across the sky, a gathering began to form by the stream born of Acis's transformation. Nymphs and sea creatures alike congregated near its banks, drawn together to weave tales of love and longing into the evening air. The world seemed to pause in reverence as these embodiments of the natural realm convened, whispering the story of Galatea and Acis into the soft breeze that carried their words across the quiet countryside. Naomi. The gathered nymphs spoke with a palpable tenderness, their voices a river of words that flowed and rippled like the waters before them. They recounted how Galatea's lament reached the ears of the gods, who, moved by her sorrow, gifted immortality to Acis through his transformation into a stream. This eternal form allowed lovers like them to remain entwined, undivided by time's relentless passage. The listeners nodded in acknowledgement of the profound depths that love could reach, elevating their own understanding of its power. As tales spun on the wind, the air grew thick with an awareness of the universal themes that the story contained. Love and loss intertwined seamlessly, showing those present that even in separation, there existed a beauty in holding one's beloved close within the heart. Galatea's devotion became a lighthouse for those navigating the seas of their own emotions, guiding them to embrace true affection and perseverance amid challenges. In quiet reflection, the nymphs shared knowing glances, their stories resonating with the enduring hope found within every whispered promise of love. This legacy of Galatea and Acis lived on, not only in the memories of fellow nymphs, but stretched beyond their times, whispered to passing travelers and dreamers who sought inspiration. Each generation that followed, drawn to the source of the stream, found themselves immersed in the enchanting narrative, a timeless tapestry of love's resilience knitted into nature itself. The myth passed down through these tales provided solace and insight, a comfort offered by the story's warm embrace. As they spoke, the stream transformed into a cherished pilgrimage site for lovers, who would visit to whisper their wishes unto its flowing waters. The surrounding wildflowers seemed brighter in this sacred place, nourished by the rich history that the stream carried within its banks. It became customary for couples to lay tokens of their affection. A flower, a ribbon, a simple pendant, by the water's edge, their gestures echoing Galatea's eternal tribute to Acis. He existed before them in spirit, his presence felt in every gentle ripple. It was not only the love story of Galatea and Acis that became legendary. Polyphemus, too, found his place within the myth. His tale served as a cautionary reminder. Jealousy, unchecked, bore consequences that could alter the fabric of destiny itself. This lesson was imparted to those who listened, warning them of the perils that accompanied possessive desires. Even in his absence, Polyphemus's actions lingered as a teaching moment. a whisper in the tales that cautioned the heart to consider the nature of its affections. In the twilight, the witnessing nymphs and creatures felt the enchantment embodied by the natural world keenly. The story of Galatea and Acis rejuvenated their understanding of love's enduring spirit, inspiring and reminding them that the ethereal beauty of truth found in legends could cast light onto the ethereal shadows of their doubts. As moonlight softly glanced off the stream's surface, there lay the promise that tales such as these, woven with threads of tenderness and warning, would outlast even the longest days and darkest nights, unfurling into the lives of those yet to come. With their retelling concluded, the nymphs fell silent, their eyes filled with the knowledge of what they bore witness to. And in the hush of the moment, the stream murmured contently, echoing the tales shared as a wind of gentle warmth wrapped them in a final embrace. Knowing that this story would continue to inspire and console, they retreated beneath the starry sky, carrying the myth's lessons close to their hearts. Soon these tales would travel again, whispered on the ocean's breeze, shaping the dreams of those who listened. The quiet shores of Sicily gently welcomed the fading light of day, painting the horizon in shades of soft gold and gentle orange. It was here, amidst the serene embrace of the Mediterranean Sea, that Galatea's myth had begun. The timeless beauty of the scene was a reminder of the enduring power of love and nature, elements that remained constant even as the world around them slowly changed. Here, on these sandy shores, echoes of past events whispered with every wave that kissed the land. Galatea herself, in essence, was still bound to this tranquil meeting of earth and sea. Though the days of her physical presence had long faded into myth, her spirit lingered on, a silent guardian watching over the stories forged by love and loss. It was in these moments of solitude, with only the sea's lull for company, that reflections on the nature of love unfolded. She had once waded these very waters, a nymph filled with kindness and a longing for harmony. The sea, ever present and unchanging, offered its endless lullaby. Its gentle, soothing rhythm was a comfort for all who ventured here, a promise that life and love continued, undeterred by the passages of time. For the many who walked along this coast, gazing out upon the endless horizon, there was solace to be found in its constancy. The sea was nature's bosom, cradling memories old and new, a tapestry woven with threads of serenity and enduring affection. Galatea's devotion to the sea had not waned, even as myth and memory intertwined to create her lasting legacy. As a timeless guardian, she ensured that the love shared with Acis was never forgotten. The shoreline had become a pilgrimage site for lovers and dreamers alike, each seeking a connection to the stories held within each wave and ripple. Here, footsteps marked the sand in testament to those who came to ponder the deep threads of love that tied Galatea and Acis to this place. Listeners were invited to engage with the tales of old, to let their hearts be touched by the eternal dance of love and myth. In the rustle of every breeze and the gentle caress of the tide, Galatea's gentle presence could still be felt. Her story echoed through the ages, not as a faded tale of woe, but as an enduring testament to love's spirit amidst the mythic waves. The sea, faithful in its vigilance, continued to tell the story with each gentle lap against the shore. In these final reflections, one could feel the yearning of hearts separated yet still devout, of love maintaining its vigor against the folds of time. Galatea's spirit was not corporeal, but it resided in every whisper of the tide, a fleeting caress on the shores of memory. Each ripple carried the essence of an eternal bond, polished smooth by centuries yet retaining the warmth of devotion. Love, in its truest form, was never ending. It ebbed like the tides, sometimes retreating, yet always returning anew, refurbished by its journey, its strength undiminished. Those who wandered the sunny shore could sense this undercurrent, a silent song promising the endurance of love through all of life's trials. It was a final testimony, encapsulated in the serene spirit of an ancient tale taking root, growing stronger with the passing eons. Thus, the chapter concluded with the rich tranquility of the sea, its mythic storytelling alive through the echoes of Galatea's love. Visitors were reminded of the gentle power held in the magnificent balance of nature and emotion. For as long as love endured, so too would Galatea's myth breathe life into the quiet shores of Sicily, her legacy a gentle embrace within the realm of vibrant mythic waves.